Hello everyone, my name is Charles Hagan and welcome to your first coaching session of physical fitness. So the reason I call it coaching session is because we're going to have two types of sessions here that you'll be receiving online. So the first will always be a coaching session, meaning that I'm going to introduce an exercise and then explain the importance of it, the proper way to do it, and how we will be implementing it into our training sessions. Which brings me into our training sessions, which will be the actual workouts. Those will be when you have a certain set of repetitions and sets that you will be implementing the exercise that you previously used. So welcome to your first coaching session. We're going to be introducing some basic stretches that you'll be doing prior to all of your workouts, and we're going to implement some of the basic exercise that we'll be using in our first training session. So the first kind of stretching that we're going to do is a form of dynamic stretching. What is dynamic stretching? Dynamic stretching is when you are going to be actively moving while you're stretching. So you're not standing in a stationary position and moving. It's always important to do dynamic stretching first so we get some flow to the muscles that we're going to be working on that day. So the first dynamic stretch that we're going to be introducing is the high knee, or also running in place. So some key things to highlight when you're going to be doing the high knee or running in place is that you are going to be mimicking your running motion. So just as you would be running, you're going to have your opposite arm and opposite leg up at the same time. And then when you switch, it's the other arm and the opposite leg. So when you're doing this, you want to get your knee up right to your hip. So right up to your hip right here. And when you switch, you want to be doing the same thing with the other knee. With your arms, you want to be getting at a 90-degree angle. This is important because we're going to be getting all the blood to these different muscles that we're doing. We want to be doing it properly. So if we're going to be exhibiting the actual exercise, we would just be going quickly back and forth like this. Notice how when I go from the side, that my knee goes all the way up to my hip, and my arm will be at a 90-degree angle like this. So the second dynamic stretch that we're going to be working on today are the butt kickers. So butt kickers have the same upper body movement as the high knees, our first dynamic stretch that we were working on today, in which you're going to be moving your arms at a 90-degree angle, alternating, and we're going to go from the side here. The only difference is that your lower body is going to have a different aiming point. So when you were doing high knees before, you're aiming to get to your waist, forward, up, and you're exploding up there. You're going to be trying to aim literally by kicking your butt each time you move. So you're going to be alternating your left arm with your right leg, just like high knees, except you're going to have a different aiming point. So we're going to exhibit them right here. For our fourth dynamic stretch today, we're going to be moving on to the upper body, and we're going to be doing arm scissors. So you're going to extend your arms completely to the side, full extension with both of your arms, locking them out, and you're going to twist by having, like in a scissor rotation, having one arm over top the other. It doesn't matter which one you have. You're going to alternate, you're going to keep going back and forth, and you're going to pat yourself on the back each time you get it, so you know that you went fully extension the entire way out, and then you went all the way in for the entire extent of the stretch. The last dynamic stretch I will be demoing today is going to be the arm circle. I'm sure we've done all of these different stretches before, but it's important to make sure that we're going back to our basics and understanding why we do them and how we're doing them. So right here, we're going to continue to get blood flow to our arms by having arm circles. So we're going to full extend just like we did with the previous exercise, and we're going to just slowly start going forward, just small circles. Focus on small circles. Then once you get about 5 circles forward, you're going to make it into medium-sized circles. And after 5 counts of that, you're going to go all the way, extend as much as you can all the way around. And then after you do 5 circles of each of those different phases, small, medium, and large, you're going to go the same exact thing, and you're going to go backwards. Small, medium, and large. Now that we started our workout with the dynamic stretches, which help us get blood flow to our muscles, we're going to be moving to stationary stretches. So the difference with stationary stretches is that we're going to be holding these poses. That's the big difference. So the first one we're going to be doing is the hamstring stretch. It's the standing hamstring stretch. I'm sure everyone has done the standing hamstring stretch before, but they are doing it incorrectly. So one bigger main component that I see many people doing this incorrectly is that people just go straight leg completely and they bend over and touch their toes. This is actually incorrect. To get your proper stretch to your hamstring, which is the muscle behind your leg right here below your gluteus maximus, is you're going to have a slight bend in your leg, and you're going to have a hinge in which you bend over, and then you're going to touch your toes. Your legs will naturally straighten this way, and you'll get a better, deeper stretch into your hamstring. The next stationary stretch that we're going to try today is the quad stretch. So the quad is located right on the front of your leg, and by the way that we're going to stretch it is we're going to have one leg up in the air, just like butt kickers, and we're going to be touching our leg to the back, and we're going to be locating our hands at the top of our foot, and we're going to bring back and stretch. If you have trouble balancing on one foot, stare at something on the ground until that you can balance. It helps me oftentimes. Then you're just going to switch. So we're going to be holding these for about 10 seconds each. An upper body stretch that we're also going to do that's stationary is the crossover stretch. So you're going to take your opposite arm and grab your tricep, which is right up here into your arm, right above your elbow. And you're going to pull your arm over, crossing it over, and you're going to hold it right here. This stretches your shoulders mostly, but it's an all-encompassing stretch exercise. Once you hold it for 10 seconds, you're going to cross it the other way, do the same thing. And our last stationary stretch before we hop into our workout today is going to be the tricep stretch. So you're going to grab your arm and put it over your head, and right at the elbow of your arm, you're going to push that down just slightly so you feel a stretch in the upper arm, which is going to be your tricep. You're going to hold that for about 10 seconds. You're going to switch with your other arm. So you're going to grab your hands, grab right above your elbow, and you're going to push down. Alright, now we're moving to the fun part. We're going to be working on each individual exercise right now. And the first and most important exercise is the squat. So there is an awful lot to talk about the squat, and we're going to be going through many of the key points of what it is to do a proper squat. So the first thing to focus on when you're doing a squat is to have a straight upper body. So you want your entire back to be completely straight, and you want to be looking forward. You don't want to have a hunched over type of back, because that could cause some back problems and an incorrect squat, and then you won't get to the proper depth that you would like. So when we're squatting, you want to aim to get to 90 degrees. So what do I mean by getting to 90 degrees? When you squat, you want the crease of your legs to be at 90 degrees to the ground. So you want your thighs to be completely parallel with the ground, like a right angle. So the best way to practice this for beginners is to grab a chair, one that you can sit into, that you're going to literally practice your squat. So what I like to do is I like to have my hands in my chest, right here, just together, and I'm going to slowly pretend that I'm just sitting down. So when you're going to position the chair, you're going to move it a little bit farther back, enough that you have to just stick your butt out just a little bit to properly sit into it. So you're going to have your legs about shoulder length apart, so right where your shoulders lie, that's where your feet are going to be, and you're going to have your feet facing forward. And you're going to put your hands right here, and you're going to be completely straight up. Your head is going to be facing forward, and you're going to slowly sit until you get to 90 degrees right onto the chair. So I'm sitting on the chair right now, and my legs are parallel with the ground. So we're going to practice that right now. The second leg exercise we're going to do today is the lunge. So an important thing to think about the lunge as well is that we're going to be keeping our back straight. We're going to be looking our head straight forward, and our neck is going to be straight as well. And what we're going to be doing is, I'm going to go from the side angle from this actually. We're going to be taking a large step out, and we're going to have our knee just barely touching the ground. So with our left leg, we're going to reach out, and almost like a triangle to start off with, and you're going to kneel, and you're just barely going to touch the ground, and go back up. And then you're going to alternate. And so you're going to bring your right leg up first, leap all the way out, go into the triangle, and just touch your knee just barely. This also works your core as well, and you can decide what you want to do with your hands. You can have them on the side while you lunge, like so. You can have them out to the side, like so. Behind the head, you can put them behind your head as long as you don't move your head forward while you're doing this, because then you'll be moving your spine from a straight position to a curved position. So those are different ways that you can do the lunge as well. Our third exercise we're going to be working on is the push-up. So that's an upper body exercise that primarily works your chest, but it also works your tricep, your arms, and your shoulder to some extent. So I'm going to show you a basic version of how to do it today. We're going to start off by doing it on our knees, because it's important that we have proper hand placement, that we have a strengthened core while we're doing this before we jump into a full push-up. So we're going to start today by doing the knee push-up. Okay, now I'm going to be demoing what a knee push-up is going to be looking like. So you're going to start off on your knees, and you're going to sprawl out with your arms, and you're going to have your hand position. Your hands are going to be facing forward, and you're going to be about shoulder width apart right here. And some important things to remember when you're doing this is that you want to have a straight back. So you're going to enact your core here. This is very important that you keep a straight back, and so you're not slouched over like this, or you're not touching the floor with your stomach first. The first thing that you want to touch the ground with is your chest, because this is a chest exercise. And so you're just gonna slowly move forward, and you want to touch touch the ground with your chest first, and then bring it all the way back up. Don't feel a need to go too fast right here. It's important to get the proper technique, so as slow as you want to go to make sure that your chest is touching the ground first. The last exercise we're going to work on developing today is the sit-up, which works your core or your abs, as you might call it, but it's important to have some different pointers for where you put your hands and your foot placement here. Alright, now I'm going to be demoing the sit-up. So for this you have options where to place your feet, so you can either have them flat to the ground like so, or you can have your heels kind of in the ground. I prefer to have my heels into the ground, but it's really just a preference thing. If you prefer to have your feet flat on the ground, you can do that as well. And once you sit back, as you sit up here, it is important that your back is completely flat on the ground, and you want your lower back to be touching the ground before you start. So a way to check that is just try to slide your hands in underneath your lower back. If you can slide your hands in underneath your lower back, then you're not doing it correctly. You want to have it tight against the ground before you start, and try to stuff your hands in there. If you can't get them in, you're doing it correctly. And you do not want to have your hands behind your head for this. If you jerk over your head, if you move your head forward by having your hands on your head, then you're going to be doing that incorrectly. You're going to be doing more of a crunch. We're working on the sit-up today. So you're going to have your hands flat on your chest with your back straight, and you're just going to focus on your core bringing you up to your knees. And so you're just going to move straight all in one motion, digging your feet into the ground and moving up like that. And that concludes our first coaching session together today. Just as a brief summary, we had 5 dynamic stretches, 4 stationary stretches, and 4 exercises that are going to be the core of our training session next time. Our training session is when we're going to put all of it in together, and we're going to have an actual workout in that order. So until next time, thank you.